My mother left me at my grandparents' place when I was just 8 years old so her new household could have more space. Now I've told them they have to move out of my property. Let me explain from the beginning. My mom essentially pushed me out because her fresh family required the room. If pushed out sounds severe, let's say her new partner removed me from the family home and sent me to live with relatives from my father's side. I carry wonderful memories from the time my dad was still alive. Sadly, we lost him when I turned 7. As a little kid, the grief crushed me. I shared a very tight bond with my father, and laying him to rest shattered something inside me. That funeral scene remains painfully vivid even today. While I was still struggling to cope with the tragedy, my mother introduced a new man and expected me to start addressing him as Dad. I refused outright. Maybe I overreacted as a child, but it felt completely wrong to give that title to someone so soon after losing my real father. I still believe she moved far too quickly. Not long after that initial meeting, I frequently noticed him coming out of my mom's bedroom. Watching her recover from grief so rapidly hurt deeply. She hadn't even waited a full year before replacing my dad that I wasn't emotionally prepared when. Right after I turned 8, they arranged their lavish wedding. It was her second marriage and quite a grand event. I told myself it wasn't my concern. During their honeymoon, she dropped me off at my grandparents' and never returned on schedule. Weeks went by. I kept asking my grandparents, "When is Mom coming to get me?" They never had a real reply. Then one random day she appeared. My heart leaped with joy after such a long wait. I rushed to embrace her, only to see she had brought every single one of my possessions. She was leaving me there permanently. The pain was overwhelming. I remained with my grandparents all the way through high school. Honestly, I felt content living with them. Every now and then my mom would visit just long enough to insist how deeply she loved me and how much she cared. I often challenged her. "If you love me so much, why did you leave me here?" She never gave a satisfying explanation. She'd dodge by saying things like, "Your little brothers are growing up now. They need help buying groceries and handling chores." Years later, she finally confessed the truth. She had reassigned my bedroom to the children her new husband, Bill, brought into the marriage. Her new spouse arrived with 2 kids of his own. After the wedding, they all moved into what used to be our family home. She clearly placed that blended unit ahead of me. Resentment built naturally, so I eventually stopped reaching out. After finishing high school, I moved out from my grandparents but kept visiting regularly. They were my real protectors. Without their love and stability, my early years would have been unbearable. I'm 24 now. After 1 year working in marketing, I decided to launch my own venture. That required startup funds, so I considered selling the house I own. Yes, surprise for my mom and her crew. The place they've been occupying actually belongs to me. My father prepared a very clear will right before passing. He left me his entire estate, house included. I was too young to understand when the attorney read it aloud after the funeral, but my mother's facial expression told me everything. She was furious that I later discovered she fought multiple times to invalidate the document and failed each attempt. Dad had worded everything tightly. The property was mine, but I couldn't sell or lease it until age 21. No one else could interfere before then. Dad must have anticipated her intentions, which is why he structured the will so carefully. Otherwise, she might have pressured or tricked me into signing it away during childhood. Last month, I phoned Mom to mention my renovation and rental idea. No answer. Calls went ignored. This week, I visited in person to explain I planned to generate income from the property. Their reaction was odd and tense. When I pressed what was wrong, they admitted eviction would be difficult because Mom's stepdaughter is expecting a baby. Teen father already vanished. And Bill recently lost his steady job. He's now doing part-time retail. Finances are tight. I'm torn. I genuinely need the capital too. I quit my job to focus on the business. Update 1: as I mentioned, Mom explained their rough patch, making eviction hard right now. I considered informing them of my intentions and allowing several months to stabilize. Originally, I thought 1 month's notice would suffice, but given their circumstances, I decided on 3 to 4 months. Since calls weren't answered, I went over. The house looked worn down, and so did Mom. The atmosphere felt icy from the start. She forced a thin smile and gave a half-hearted hug. Keep in mind, we hadn't seen each other properly in ages. She occasionally dropped by after I became a teenager, but by then I harbored deep bitterness. Why wouldn't I? Even after years apart, she showed zero interest in my life. "No, how have you been?" "Nothing. It felt like, oh, you're here. This must be important. To soften things, I said, no big deal. Just wanted to see you. Been a while. She replied, right? Then silence stretched for 5 full minutes until I stood to leave. The visit felt awkward and unwelcome. My pregnant half-sister was also present and glared as though I'd come to start trouble. For now, I dropped the eviction idea and searched for alternative funding. But my mother crossed into pure self-centered territory again. Last week marked 15 years since Dad passed. I arranged a proper memorial, feeding those in need, distributing gifts to poor kids, inviting friends and extended family for prayers. I emailed Mom an invitation too. She never opened it. I checked the email thread. Assuming spam, I visited again. Mom wasn't home. Brenda, stepsister, opened the door without any hello. Just snapped. You again? What now? I explained I wanted to invite Mom to Dad's memorial. She scoffed. That happened forever ago. You're still stuck on it. I answered, he was my father. It matters to me. She laughed mockingly. Continued in part 2. Part 2, I stood there awkwardly a bit longer, then left a note asking Mom to call. She rang the next day. I told her about the memorial service. Silence. Then, I can't. Brenda has a prenatal appointment. I replied sarcastically, of course she's your priority. We're nothing. She got upset at my tone. I shot back, why should I be polite after the way you treated me? She claimed it was normal for her to defend her pregnant daughter. You can't mention death around someone expecting. That pushed me over. I shouted, don't speak ill of my father. If anyone lacks sensitivity here, it's you. Moving on so fast after he died. She fired back, your father passed 15 years ago. Move on already. I said, exactly like you did in days, maybe weeks. Who knows? You don't need to come. Dad wouldn't want your prayers anyway after seeing who you really are. I ended the call. That same afternoon, I contacted a lawyer and started formal eviction proceedings. It took about 2 weeks to verify the will and serve notice. When the papers reached her, she panicked. Apparently, she never expected me to follow through just because she skipped Dad's memorial. I smirked at her desperate voicemail and blocked the number. Unable to reach me, she went to my grandparents' place, where I'm staying temporarily while reorganizing. She begged them to talk sense into me. My grandparents are gentle, peace-loving people. They told her plainly, it's his house, his decision. We stay out of it. She didn't like that answer and accused them of spoiling me into an entitled brat. I was furious when I heard. I asked Grandma why she didn't confront Mom. She said, we avoid fights with women like her. I replied, well, I don't. They're not staying another day. Legally, I could evict immediately, no rent paid, I cover taxes yearly, they're basically squatters. But my grandparents urged patience and kindness. Next day, Mom messaged, we need to talk. Urgent. I answered, let me check my schedule. She exploded in a lengthy text accusing me of power tripping. I ignored it. All through childhood, whenever I cried or begged to come home, she scolded me instead of comforting me. That tactic kept her life calm. I'd quiet down, but inside I suffered alone for hours afterward. I know more. Now it's her turn to face emptiness. She showed up again. I deliberately kept her waiting an hour. When I finally appeared, she gave me a look like, I've been sitting here forever, but said nothing. She opened with, let's get to it. I can't stay all day. I murmured, right, house hunting is exhausting. She glared, then demanded, what's this notice about? I said calmly, pretty sure you can read, or want me to explain it aloud? She flung the papers at me, yelling she wasn't leaving over some stupid paper. I replied, then enjoy the court consequences. She snapped, I gave birth to you. Don't act smarter than your mother. That house belongs to me and my husband. I corrected her, a legal heir disagrees. You're trespassing. I'm removing every freeloader. She stood up, declaring she was done being polite. Now her attorney would handle me. I laughed. Go ahead. Still got 20 days. Let's see what tricks he has. Update 2. After lots of drama, I regained full control of the house. As previously shared, I issued a 30-day notice. Mom tried twisting the narrative when we met. I cut her off and walked away. What followed was textbook self-absorption. Brenda actually ran up and threatened a harassment lawsuit, playing that I'm pregnant, So I'm untouchable card, I told her straight. Being pregnant doesn't give you a free pass for bad behavior. She kept pushing until we pointed out the security cameras. I warned, step here again and you're getting arrested. Mom jumped in to shield her precious stepdaughter, accusing me of emotional cruelty toward a pregnant woman. Brenda echoed she'd sued it. I said, let a judge review the footage. When that failed, Mom switched to tears, claiming she failed as a mother and blaming my dad's early death for my selfish character. I corrected her. If you want blame, it's for abandoning me, not for raising me poorly, because you never did. My grandparents raised me beautifully. You should regret leaving me behind. But honestly, I'm thankful you didn't. Look how you raised Brenda. I shouldn't have brought up the teen pregnancy. That was a low blow in anger. She exploded. I went silent. I explained I only wanted my property returned. I'd let them stay rent-free for years. Now I needed funds after quitting my job, so I'd rent to paying strangers. She hated that strangers would live there instead of them. I offered, pay rent and you can stay. She raged about mixing money with family. I answered, there is no family. You discarded me like garbage and only appeared on holidays to act generous. That's not a mother, that's you. She tried guilt, anger, tears, every trick. When nothing worked, she stormed out. Update 3, continued drama. They ignored the move-out date. Then Bill sent a threatening voice message. Buddy, you have no idea who you're dealing with. One visit and you'll beg. One slap and you'll forget the house. Keep pushing. I'll put you down. He's large and likes intimidating people. Friends warned he's trouble. But recording his own threat was dumb. I saved it and filed a police report for threats, with my lawyer present. On eviction day, we went with officers. After some persuasion payment, Mom, Bill, and Brenda hurled insults. Bill even grabbed a hockey stick until he saw the patrol car. Police displayed the notice and ordered them out. They hadn't packed anything, assuming they'd win. They begged for another month. I refused. They used the pregnancy for sympathy. I stayed firm. Police gave odd looks but followed law. They asked for one more day. I gave 3 hours. Bill glared murderously. Officers pushed. Pack! Don't stare. We left. Keys were surrendered at the station. Extra fee for convenience. Lawyer recommended a restraining order on the premises. Police served it and explained penalties. Their faces showed pure hatred. But it was over. I repaired the place and listed it. Tenants signed quickly. Update 4 thought the nightmare ended. Then new tenants called. Someone was forcing entry. It was Bill, trying to scare them out and reclaim the house. He screamed it was his despite the order. I arrived. Explained the law. He turned violent. Neighbors called police. Officers arrested him for breach of restraining order, attempted trespass, property damage, resisting, and insulting officers. Tenants were shaken but relieved. Law finally acted without me paying extra this time. Update 5 Mom visited my temporary place. I moved to something affordable so rent income can fund business and living. She begged me to drop charges against Bill. I won't. Most charges belong to tenants/police anyway. The restraining order violation is mine. I'm keeping it. She complained everything's falling apart and I'm making it worse. I reminded her. I gave a month or pay rent. They refused both. They only wanted free housing forever. I did more than enough. Bill faces multiple counts, maybe years if maximum, but realistically months inside. Perhaps jail will humble him. That's the full saga. No more contact with those toxic people. Time to build my future.